Hi ladies, welcome to week 13. We're in the home stretch here, so give it all you've got. I know there's quite a few things left to do, but you're almost done. So this week you're going to take a quiz. It will be due 11:55 a.m. by Friday. I do want to mention the papers. I haven't gotten to grading them yet. I hope to have them done by the end of the day on Wednesday. Again, you have a quiz and a discussion this week. Next week there is nothing due, so that you can have some extra time to spend with your families, although there's some reading to do, but there's no discussion, there's no quiz, nothing like that. However, the following week you do have a video due, and let me talk to you about that video for a minute. The video needs to be 4 to 6 minutes long, and in this video you're going to be researching and informing us about some issue that affects women today, something that adversely affects us, and you have to kind of research it and follow a see, judge, act format. In the see part of it, you're just sharing with us what are the statistics today, what is the problem, describing it to us. In the judge part of it, you're analyzing this for what are the root causes for this problem. And in the act part of it, you're suggesting changes that could be made to policy, practice, procedure, the way people perceive something, and you're going to make those suggestions to improve the situation. It doesn't need to fix it, just improve it. And of course, you need to use research, so you need 4 outside sources for this. You should cite those sources as you use them. Your presentation should include an intro, a body, and a conclusion. You will videotape yourself giving this presentation. You should upload that to YouTube, I think, which is the easiest thing to do. And then put a link to your video. And I know there's other places out there, other ways to make videos, so whatever works. The one thing I will say is that Integrity doesn't work that great. I don't know exactly why, but it doesn't work wonderful. But if you upload it to YouTube, or you use whatever other app or website that you know of, you're going to send us a link to the video. You will submit the video for me. I will watch all the videos, but you will also watch and critique 2 of your classmates' videos. Again, this has to be an issue that adversely affects women today. Some topics you might consider would be the wage gap, or domestic violence, or eating disorders, or sexism in the workplace, or divorce, or poverty. I mean, 80% of the people who are poor are women. Or you could do education, or that lack of access to education, or how women are treated in third world countries, or specific things like female genital mutilation. But you need to find some topic, and you pick the topic about something that adversely affects women. And you make this video 4 to 6 minutes, use 4 outside sources, post it by December 2nd at noon. That's the last big thing. You have a couple of discussions and the final exam. I will publish the final early so that you can work ahead if you want to. And if you did work ahead, that would free up some time for the rest of your classes. So about this week's reading, you're going to read chapter 7 in Her Story. This week it's talking about women in America, which is really interesting. It talks first about the birth of the women's suffrage movement, which you'll read was not very well supported by Catholic people. And not many, especially Catholic men, were involved in this movement. It started in the late 1800s. By 1920, women had the vote, or the right to vote. But a startling statistic is that it wasn't until 1980 that women matched men at the polls. Having just finished an election, one that I know is pretty bittersweet for a lot of people, I think it's worth celebrating the fact that in the 1900s, in the early 1900s, women were fighting for the right to vote, and in 2016 we had a woman we could vote for as president. And I think that alone is pretty amazing in light of the content of what we've been studying. In America, women were kind of seen as people that should be at home raising their kids, and it's in this era that people start to question that, start to want to give them more rights and freedoms, including going out of the house to work. Of course, during the World Wars, this was a necessity, but it became kind of the norm probably in the 70s or 80s. And as a woman who works and has a family, I think I model to my children every day the importance of taking care of them and at the same time, having a career and having something important that I get to leave the house and go do every day. I have 4 daughters and a son. I think it's equally important to my son as it was to my daughters to see me finding a lot of fulfillment and identity in my profession and my job. And I think they'll go on to be women who contribute immensely to society as a result of seeing a mother who worked. And that's not to say that women who don't work don't also model to their children incredible values and show this great constancy. And I know when I'm home during the summer with my kids, that's the hardest that I work. It's the hardest job there is. But it's good to see in the history that you're going to read about that women get to start kind of expanding their idea of what it means to be a woman. In particular, we have a lot of Catholic nuns who started coming to America at the time. And later you'll read more about this in a different week. But they really focused on education and running hospitals or nursing. And so, largely in America, the face of the church that people saw was the face of a woman doing the work of the church, which is very impressive as well. And you'll read about that this week too. So I hope you have a great week. I hope things settle down nationally a little bit. And I'll talk to you next week.